everybody. This is Owen Sanchez from Wetel TV. Right now we're here at the Jamaican Pavilion for the launch of the book of the author Kande Summers. This is the second book that you did so far, and it's Nala's story. Okay, so can you just tell us more about this book, Kande?
Basically, I based this book on one of the 17 sustainability goals. And so basically this one is based off equality for all, so between women and men. And so it's about a girl who wants to play a sport, but she's undermined and thought as less because of the fact that she's a female. And so the story is about how she decides to overcome that and prove everyone wrong.
Okay, so that's your inspiration to create and wrote this book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you created this book? How many pages are the content of this book?
About 16 pages. It's a book I originally wrote as like inspiration for others, because I wanted women to know that if they want to do something, they can do it as long as they put their mind to it. And so it's just a short story for like kids and tweens to read. It's targeted at people aged 7 to 9, but anyone can read it if they want to. I think it's a good story that explains in a kid-friendly way about equality and the difference between men and women in society today.
Okay, actually I became very, very interested of this author, Kande Summers. It's because she had that intelligence, smartness during her young age. Right now, her age is 13, is that right? So she had published her first book when she was only 12. So just imagine how clever this girl is. What's your best-selling book in Amazon?
This book right here, Going Home, Diary of a Teenager, it's the first book that I published. I published it 2 years ago at the Sharjah International Book Fair. The story of how I published it is actually kind of funny, because we went there and we only had one book in hand, literally just this book. We didn't have anything else in our stand, and so people laughed at us, saying that it's crazy that we went there to do that. But the purpose of it really for me was to promote myself and to promote my book. And so the next time we went to a book fair, it was a lot better. We had a lot more books, and we even bought other black authors and helped promote their own books. So it wasn't just alone with my book that time. But if you want to ever check it out, it's on Amazon. So.
Okay, so what is the main gist of the story of Going Home? Why the title Going Home?
This story is kind of based on a girl from outer space who crash lands into Earth. And so she has to figure out how to like find her way home, and she ends up making friends there. And it's basically her journey of discovering herself and meeting new people. But she ends up having to find her way home. So it's this journey of self-discovery. Okay. And the inspiration for this book was basically moving here. It was kind of like an alien journey for me, because I grew up in England, and so the cultures and everything is so much different between this place and this place. And as a 7-year-old moving to a new country, it's very different.
So you call it alien? You call it alien, it's because you're not adjusted and adapted to this certain place.
It's like a different planet.
Yeah, okay. And then during your young age, typically this kind of areas for you will be kind of new and not explored very much, and then you don't have friends, you don't have people who could help you, and you felt like you're alone.
Yeah, it's basically moving here was kind of like, it was something really different for me as a child, because back in England I had a lot of friends and I enjoyed life back there, but moving to a different country was like starting life over again and experiencing different things as if it's like a different planet. And so I ended up deciding that that's what I wanted to make my first story about.
Right. Okay, is this something really related to your real life story? Have you linked it to that?
Yeah, the main character is kind of based off like a version of me that I think could have been in another life. Okay. So I basically wrote about me as a different person, and how I found myself through friends and the people around me, and they helped me to find my way to myself.
Understand. Okay, so this book has been published in which year? You said it was just recently published last year.
We published it late 2020 at the Sharjah International Book Fair.
Understand. Okay, currently, how many books have you sold up to this day?
Over 300.
Wow, that's amazing. So 300 copies of this book have already been out.
Yeah, I'm really happy about that, as it's the first book I've published, and I never really expected it to become this big, and I'm really proud of myself for how I managed to carry this across, and even at such a young age. And I just hope to be an inspiration for other people around me, so they can know that no matter how young you are, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you're old, young, you can do it as long as you put your mind to it.
Understand that. So how have you related this book to the new book that you've just recently, this one which we are launching right now? Are they interconnected, or it's typically a different story? All
A completely different story, because I wanted to also target my books towards a different age audience, so that multiple people can read my books, doesn't matter how old they are. Because my books are friendly to anyone who wants to read it, but I just wanted to make it more kid friendly for people under 7, and if they want to, their parents can help them read it to them, and they can help them understand it, and it's basically like a learning lesson for them.
Understand. Okay, so I want to understand why is it that you would like this book to be launched during Expo at this time, and here in Expo 2020 location, Jamaica Pavilion?
Well, my dad's side is originally from Jamaica.
Wow.
And so I'd like to connect back to my roots, and Expo is a really big site, and it's been really popular. Over 20 million people have visited here. And I was actually one of the flag bearers for the Sustainability Goals Week introduction at the ceremony. So I feel like that could also, because I realized then that sustainability goals was a big part of Expo, and they wanted to showcase that. So I figured that why not launch it here?
Okay. So for the sake of the general viewers, not all people are quite familiar of your book and yourself. Can you just tell us a brief story of yourself? Where have you been originated, and where have you grown up, and how many times you've traveled and you moved from one place to the other? I'm quite curious to know about that.
The early years of my life, they were spent in England.
Okay.
Eventually we moved here because for work reasons and stuff. And so through the years, my parents have always encouraged me to start my own thing and be able to promote myself as a person, so that later in life I'm more prepared for what's going to come at me with all the soft skills and the skills that I'm learning right now.
Right.
So I think that when I was growing up, I didn't really understand it as well as I do now, and so I kind of rebelled a lot. But now I'm trying to get more into it and be more open to the idea of it, and because I realize now that it's actually going to help me later in life. And I really thank my parents for pushing me into this.
Right, I'm pretty excited about this book and learning yourself more. So it means to say that you grew up in England, and then you have relocated here in the UAE. How long have you been staying here now from this date?
About 7 years now.
Okay, 7 years. So your transition period from England, when you were just half of your age basically, because right now you're 13. So you grew your toddler life in England, and now what is the difference that you've seen basically from the time that you grew up from England to compare on how you grew up here for 7 years?
Well, I feel like the UAE has more heavily influenced me than it has England, because I was so young at the time. So even though you get impacted by these things at a young age, as you grow up, you start to remember more things, and so I feel like it has a heavier impact on me. Moving here, I think that the different cultures if I was growing up in England, I would definitely not know as much as I know right now, like all of the things about this culture. Like I really like
diversified.
Yeah, I like learning about the culture and how they do things around here. I think it's very interesting.
Right. Okay. So right now you're currently studying here, if I have it correctly understood, right?
I'm homeschooled, so
In which grade are you now?
year 9.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that's great. So tell us the little gist of the story, but not the full, so that people can still be excited to read. Probably a little synopsis of this Nal's story.
So Nala, she's a young schoolgirl, and there's a list of school activities for her to join, and one of the things especially catches her eye, which is football. But she's discouraged by her peers and people around her to join it due to the fact that she's a girl. But she decided that she wanted to do this and she was going to pursue it. So it's basically just showing how she's decided that when she wants to do something, she can put her mind to it and achieve what she wants to achieve. And I think it's a very inspiring story, even for myself writing it.
Yeah, I think the reason why you said that earlier, that this is for women, and I know that football are men's game. Okay, so the reason why you would like this book to be read by women around there is for them to realize something, that not all things are all for men, right?
Yeah. I've always been encouraged by like female things and specifically targeted to females. But then when it comes to things like football, for example, you know, the men's league and everything, they pay way more and they get a lot more publicity than the women's football league. And so I just want to show them that even though you don't see it as much, you can do it if you want to, and you can put your mind to it and achieve it.
Right. Okay. So thank you very much for this time. And of course, after this book, what are we going to expect next from you?
This is one book I've been working on for a while. It's called The Lost Destiny. Basically, it's another fiction book, and it's basically about a girl who finds new powers, and she rejects it at first, but then she realizes eventually that it's her destiny and that she has to use it to help her peers and the people around her.
What motivates you to write a different kinds of book like this, a different topic, and what inspires you to make some kind of a different tone of ideas that you have to put in your book?
I like to be able to target my books at anyone, so anyone can choose one of my books and read them, no matter what they're into, how old they are. And people who's really been inspirational in my life and pushed me to achieve my goals is my parents, especially. And so even when I just don't know what to write, my dad just tells me, keep writing.
Right.
Even if you don't know what to write, just keep writing and you'll figure it out. So I really appreciate my parents for everything they've done for me and to keep pushing me, even though sometimes I want to stop.
Okay, among your mom and dad, who's also a writer like you?
I'm the first writer in the family, like the entire family, and everyone in the family is really proud of me, and I'm proud to show to them that even they can do it if they wanted to. So
have you felt that even before you're young, that you have the passion to write?
No, to be honest.
Which age have you discovered that you have this passion?
Writing was something that was put upon me by my parents. So at first I never really realized that I had a passion for it until they introduced me to it. And so I think that sometimes, because kids don't really know what they want, they're still young and they might try it out one time and realize, yeah, I don't want to do this. But then if their parents actually push them to do it, they might realize that maybe this is something they might want to pursue for a little bit. So it's good to just stick to things for a while and see how it turns out.
I'm just trying to be curious here, but it's our secret. Is it because that you're just running away from the household chores, that's why you're trying to pretend you're writing?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay, so you know that's what's interesting more is you write, and I learned from your dad that you also design all the book covers that you have. Show them each one, okay? So mind you guys that this book was specifically designed and created and illustrated by Kande herself, just to be one-stop shop here, a writer, illustrator, content creator, so that's how talented is this girl. And mind you, she is the youngest African writer in the history. She had first written a book almost age of 12. She published her first book, Going Home, in Amazon when she was 12. So isn't it amazing kid that we have here? One of the wizards. Hope girls we're gonna have an inspiration from her, all the other children. What can you say about the children who's aspiring to write a book by themselves? Is it easy to do it?
If you have the motivation to do it and you really want to do it, you can figure it out and you'll get there. As long as you put in the effort and the research, you do everything that's necessary, you can do it. I just want to be able to inspire everyone around me, no matter how old they are, how young, what their gender is. I just want them to know that if they want to, they can achieve their goals, and they just need to put their mind to it and they'll get there.
Okay, so now it's the interest of how much is this book if we need to purchase. Okay, so in Amazon, this book will gonna cost us, the Going Home cost us in Amazon if we purchase it online. How much is it?
It's 50 dirhams.
50 dirhams, even in Amazon. Okay, so this brand new book which we just recently launched, this is how much in Amazon?
This is going to be roughly about 25 dirhams.
25 dirhams. Okay. So the other one, do you have the price now? Have they given a price for this in Amazon, The Lost Destiny?
It's not published yet, but we're going to publish it very soon. But I expect that the price will be 50 dirhams.
Almost as the same. But because I have to explain to the general public that when you publish a book, it's Amazon who will gonna give you the price of how much your book that you have submitted to them will gonna cost in the market. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm sure you're gonna be rich after this because of the royalties that you will gonna have soon enough. Okay, girls and boys, so this is to encourage you that you can still write your own book, and it's very easy. And Amazon is very open to that and have the online system as well. They will guide you on how to do it. If there's someone there who's an aspiring writer and author, this is your chance. Say thanks to everybody, and then probably you have something more to say, and this is your floor to say the things that you have to say. Your chance to call the people to buy your book, and of course, thank your sponsors.
Thank you. If you want to contact me or reach out to me or anything, you can reach me at my Instagram handle, royalqueen.art. That's queen with a KW. And I'm next going to be at the Sharjah Children's Book Fair and the Abu Dhabi Book Fair. So if you ever want to catch me or see me or anything, I'll be there.
Great. Thank you so much for watching us. This is Owen Sanchez from WeTel TV and Jamaican Pavilion Expo 2020.